Five.
I agree with you up until that point right there.
Vote. Just because you start one way doesn't mean it has to be that one. Three.
To do something in sports, but I did not know that I wanted to do.
Two.
You hear somebody say, like, if I try to get
one.
It's a neighborhood therapist. We're working out instead of blowing down on 420. And of course, we always with Mike B.
Yeah.
And this is season 2, episode 11 of the Black Man Misunderstood podcast.
Kiko got them beats, baby.
Shit. Advocate, hope. Lesson starts when the teacher actually ends. Now, lesson starts when the teacher actually ends. Now, lesson starts when the teacher actually ends. Now, fuck them casual trends. We going all in. Now, welcome to the growth. Keep it brief, this how it goes. Some keep it real, others keep doing the most. Some keep it real, others keep doing the most. Some keep it real, others keep doing the most.
So we're not gonna waste no time. We're not gonna play no games, man. It's 420. We understand how y'all feel. You know, y'all rushing and itching to blowing down. Shit, you might be blowing down while listening to this. No problem. But that don't mean we're gonna shy away from the things that we need to get addressed up on here. So, in corny fashion, yo, Mike.
What's up, bro?
Come on. I need some enthusiasm because this is the one right here.
All right, come on, bring it, bro. You know I'm ready.
All right. So, why are black men afraid to speak about their shortcomings? Don't answer that yet. I'm gonna say it again. Why are black men afraid to speak about their shortcomings? I'm gonna add a question on top of that. What do you do when your man downstairs is acting up?
Oh, damn. You try to hit us. You try to hit me with 2 low blows. What's going on?
All right. So before you answer that, right? If you decide to answer that, the reason why I'm coming like that is because when we around each, now I'm not talking about me. I'm just talking about black men. When we around each other, we always high siding on each other. We're always showing the flaws. You know, we might have a real conversation, but we don't never get into the nitty gritty. Like, yo, fam, like, I was trying to, it didn't work out, fam. Like, what I'm supposed to do? We don't have those conversations.
All right. So I guess black men, in this country, well, not even just this country, throughout history and across the world, it's if we show our shortcomings, I guess it's more so us showing a weak side of us. When the black man, rise into power into different locations, we try not to show any weaknesses, because if we show any sign of weakness, they take advantage of it and throw it right back at us.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that's the whole thing about the shortcomings, and then having issues downstairs. Who actually want to talk about their business having issues down there? It's between you and your lady. Go handle your biz. Go check a doctor if you need to, but don't just sit on it. That's all I got to say about that.
Okay. See, and I think I agree with you up until that point right there. Like, how? All right. So peek game. If I don't know what's going on with me, and you might have the answers because you done went through it already, you're not gonna give me the information because you don't want me to ask you because you feel like it should just be between me and my lady. I'm coming to you as a man. You're not gonna help your bro out, right? So I'm gonna answer that question because I asked you the question, but you didn't shoot it back to me.
All right.
So in the rare event that my man is acting up downstairs, I drink water, I do squats. That works for me. What?
You ain't lying, because I always be guzzling down 2 bottles.
Hey, bro, I'm just saying, man. But listen, I brought that up because we got a super special guest on here, okay? We talking about health and fitness, and I'm like, that goes with it. Like, we don't have that conversation. Like, yo, bro, when you not up to the task,
facts.
What do? Like, you just sit there and you make excuses, or do you actually do something. And I wanted to throw that gym out there in case people don't understand. You can dead ass do some squats and drink some water and, you know, give yourself a little time, recover.
Yeah, now that you think about it, yeah, I do drink. I'll be doing guzzling that water though. That be
Man, talk to me nice, man. Come on, Mike. Who we
All
got
right.
today, bro?
All right, coming on is this gentleman that I met during college through a fellow friend of ours, Mr. Alex Clark, founder of Prime Ability. It's an organization that leads fitness events for youth and their families. Now, I introduce you guys to Mr. Alex Clark.
What's going on, y'all?
We here for it. We here for it. How you doing?
Good, man. Good. I'm happy that y'all took the time and had me come on here. I heard a lot about y'all podcast and a lot about the work that y'all doing. So I'm always down to learn and grow from other fellow brothers as well. So I'm happy to be here.
Respect,
Cool.
respect.
So I think I'm gonna start off like this. Explain to the listeners who is Alex Clark.
Just a young boy from Hartford, Connecticut. Graduated. Well, grew up in the public school system. Graduated from East Hartford High School back in 2009. I went to Central Connecticut State University. So I studied health and PE and kinesiology there. And then as soon as I got done with school, I took I guess like LeBron would say, took my talents to DC. And then really just started like discovering my life, like really discovering like what it is that I want to do, what my niche is, and started teaching right away. And that really manifested into more community work. And now it's just like, I can't see a day like I know my passion is, right? My passion every day is working with students and working with families to inspire. So that's kind of like a nutshell of like who I am. I think if you were to meet me, you can see that like on my face all the time, and you can kind of see that in the way I move, what I'm about. But yeah, man, anything that y'all want to know more, y'all can always, follow me. Prime Ability, that's the name of our organization, and check us out. So because my mission is strong.
Definitely appreciate that. So you kind of started hinting there about what health and fitness means to you because you went to school for it, PE and everything. Let's go a little deeper into that real quick.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So yeah, as a PE teacher, I say this a lot. There's like this. I guess you would call it like a stereotype. There's a stereotype about our subject, right? One of the biggest things is that like, we roll the ball out and like kids just start playing around and being active, and all your class is built around is kids playing basketball, and if they don't want to do it, they can sit on the bleachers, and we know all about like what our PE experience was when we were in high school, right? We knew the things that we did. We knew the things that was. We know if it was playtime, and we know if it was like some serious like instructional time going on in your PE class, and so health and wellness when it comes to a PE perspective is really less about I focus less about the physical aspect, and I really focus a lot more on the mental and that social aspect, because our kids got it, right? Our kids know how to play basketball. Our kids know how to run around. They know how to like. They might not know the names of every exercise, but they know what they can do to be strong, to get stronger. But it's really like that inspiration to use exercise to empower. And so like that's kind of what that's kind of like my philosophy. So it's less about knowing what cardiovascular endurance is and how many pushes you do in this amount of time and how much weight you can put on the bench, but it's about like using the bench press, right, to empower students to think a little bit more and think more about their life, right, and use fitness to think more about, where they're trying to go. And so I think that's extremely important because, I think that every subject that students take and every class that students take, especially in high school, should be centered around, life skills and centered around like character development. But I just try to do my best in infusing that. Yeah.
Man, that's profound, bro. That was deep. That was real deep.
Yeah, man.
For sure.
You just hitting on all the questions already. So you're already telling us why people should listen to you with health and fitness. But
Yeah.
let's dive into what you were saying about before about the mental aspect, because I don't think a lot of people catch on to that part of it when it comes to health and fitness. Let's dive in a little bit on that. Yeah.
So this year, I started, 2020, I started hosting fitness events. I was always like kind of on the side. Like when I first started Primeability, I would really just focus on that. Like I was really centered around working with like top level athletes and college athletes. And so like, down in DC where I live, it's a hotbed for high school talent, not just for basketball, but football. We got like the Mathic High School down here, St. John, all these like top level high schools. And that's kind of really how it started. And then, I moved over to community work in 2020, and I saw like kind of like what my impact was with just kids alone, working with kids could have that same impact with parents and help like mom and daughter be closer with each other because they might be going through a tough time. It'll help father and son connect with each other because father might have been locked up or father might have been away for a long time, right? And so I started like hosting like small workshops that kind of focused on those things. And then, I kind of created like a tour, I guess you would say, where I went to multiple cities and hosted like these big events. And it was really in the wake of, the social unrest in our country, right? The Black Lives Matter movement, all of this, like, awakening, the Great Awakening, I guess you could say, that we had this summer with all the protests. So, I started an event called Sweat It Out for Black Lives. And we did 3 different events. We did one here in DC. We did 2 in Connecticut, one in July, and then one recently that was in, not recently, but in October 2020. And then I shifted that and brought it to colleges. So we did one at AIC, and then we did one at Merrimack College there in New York. And so, it's really has turned into like more of a motivational movement. We split our workouts not based on like body parts. I think a lot of times we go to the gym and we're like, oh, we're gonna do legs, right? And I'm gonna do squats first, like box step ups or something like that after, right? But we centered around key terms, and so like our workout was centered around resiliency. Our workout was centered around transparency, all right, and what that means in your life, right? What does it mean to be transparent with yourself, right? What does it mean to be resilient about the things that you go through? And it really inspired others to work out harder even during the events, right? Because it's one thing if you're working out with one person and you're just or single by yourself, but it's another thing when you have a community of people that are motivating you, clapping it up for you, and really focus and really tuned in on the same objective. And so so we could I look forward to continue doing that throughout the year, throughout this summer and into the fall. But yeah, man, I've seen it. I've seen the change. I've seen like it started off as just like training people and wanting to work with people, and it's really turned into like a movement. It really has, and I'm just happy to like continue it.
Yeah, man, you just touching on all these different points, and I'm loving the work, and I love how you say it started for one thing, but it evolved into something greater than what you even thought it would have been. So, and I think that's the piece that people need to understand, that just because you start one way doesn't mean it has to be that one thing always. It can always expand and evolve into different patterns that you don't even realize it's going to do. Like,
that's a fact. I mean, it's all about adaptability at the end of the day.
Yeah, man.
And even though he's doing what he's doing as full time, at the end of the day, you're still an entrepreneur, right, Alex?
Yeah, absolutely. It's parlayed into so many different things. Like it's parlayed into consulting work. I work with like so many different schools now. Building programs, not only in business, in companies now, like building programs that are infusing like team bonding, like team bonding experience, workshops with, new employer, enrichments and opportunities and things like that. So freshman orientations at colleges. And so, a lot of these things, their fitness isn't like the workouts that you do in fitness are always going to be the same. They're always the same, right? Like if you want to get stronger, if you want your biceps to get strong, you know exactly what you need to do, right? You need to go in the gym, you need to do curls, and you need to do straight bar curls and dumbbells. And you got to work on it, right? But so like the workouts are never going to change, but like the things that are going to inspire you to work out, those things can change, right? Like your inspiration can always change, right? And you find inspiration from multiple areas, then you'll be fine, right? Like some people, I recently started listening to gospel music as I work out. Would I have done that when I was in college? Probably not, most likely not, right? But it's like my inspiration has changed because like my focus in life is completely different than what my focus was when I was 19, 20, 21. And so, I'm all about inspiration. I would not call myself, an expert in like, you want to lose 15 pounds in 30 days or something like that. Like that, I'm not that guy, right? If you create like a diet plan or like you need a nutritionist, do not call Alice Clark. Like I'm not going to be that guy. If you're looking for like, if you're looking for motivation, holla at me, right? If you're looking for like creativity and and what my thoughts are about social justice and what my thoughts are about, teen pregnancy these days. So these are all the things kind of like what I focus on throughout the program, right? And so if you want to know my thoughts about that, then absolutely, like I'm that guy. And so I think that like in a sense, it's like counseling through fitness, right? Like we're counseling people by helping them be more fit, helping them be healthy.
Definitely respect that. Mr. Therapist, I'm throwing the ball in your corner.
Oh, you want to get into the nitty gritty, man? Because you Mr. Political over here.
Hey, we need to get into the nitty gritty. Come on, it's all about the real.
All right, man. Well, Alex, I don't know how much you know about me, bro, but I throw blows at my guests, man. So I want the real answers, man. How does one create an organization like yours in another state? Like, I want you to talk about the blood, sweat, and tears of what it took for you to get there. That's why I brought up the entrepreneur, because I know it was some sleepless nights. It was adaptability. It was some things you looking at. You like, man, I don't know. I might be speaking out of turn, but I know there's times where as an entrepreneur, you like, man, I don't know if this is gonna work. Like, speak to that.
Yeah, man. Man, this has been the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. It's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. But at the same time, the easiest thing I've ever done in my life, because like I love it. That's the thing of what I'm doing. So it's like I don't even care. Like if it's a sleepless night, it's a sleepless night because that night is going so fast. It's going by so fast because I'm putting in so much work throughout that night. Right. So like I might be tired throughout the day, but like there's always something else to do. Like there's always something else to push yourself and like how you can scale it and make it better. I guess I could really just talk more about like our biking program, because I think that like that was the time in my entrepreneurship in my professional life. I'm a teacher full time, but this is kind of what I do. I wouldn't say on the side, because I would say I would do this full time as well. But when I started that was like the hardest thing. Being a Black man and teaching out of school. I teach at Dunbar High School in Washington, D.C. And so Dunbar High School is the first African-American school to open for Black students in the country. So it's a historically Black school. It's one of the oldest Black schools in the country. It doesn't look like that now because it's like the school is beautiful. It's like glass. It's like a glass building now, but it's very, very historic. Thurgood Marshall graduated from there. A ton of professional athletes have graduated from there. So Dunbar is like really, really profound in the DC community, but also like nationally for like, a lot of the things that we've accomplished. You know, our school is really centered around Black studies and Black engineering and Black business. And so it's like, it's really, really, you feel the power like when you come into the building every day. And so that's where I teach. And so like, as you can imagine, my school is Ward 5. So my school is predominantly, it's 98% African-American students. You know, it's 98% free and reduced lunch. So my kids come from, none of them come from affluent, like, you know, neighborhoods. All of my kids come from the hood, straight up. You know what I mean? There's no other way to put it. And my kids go through a lot to get to school, you know, every single day. And so, you know, I feel for that. You know, that's a big part of my job, is understanding that. I'm sure you guys know about this as well. You know what I'm saying? We see this perpetuate a lot in our community. And throughout the pandemic, you know, I was still like hosting events and things like that. And, you know, throughout that whole summer, I could have been like, yeah, this is lit. Like, we sweat off of Black lives. This is what primeability is. And like, we're great, right? So during the pandemic, I picked up, always was like kind of like a cyclist, like a novice, not a novice, but like a, I would say like beginner stages cyclist. I would probably ride maybe like 20, 25 miles on the weekend for a good workout. And I picked it up more and more throughout the pandemic. And I'm going through all these trails throughout DC, and I'm seeing like these beautiful lakes. I'm seeing like all of these like all this foliage and all, you know, all these trees and these mountains. And, you know, I'm just thinking, I'm like, damn, like I wonder if my kids have ever seen any of this stuff. Like I wonder if my students have ever seen it. Like they rep DC all day, right? Like if you holler at my kids will say, yeah, DC all day. Like if I say anything about Jersey or anything about Connecticut, nah, my kids ain't trying to hear it's DC. You know what I mean? Like it's DC. Because you know, like they everybody gonna rep where they from. And so like when they hear me talk, I don't sound like I'm from DC. I just don't. You know what I mean? I think throughout the years I probably picked some stuff up, but other than that, like I sound like I'm from New England. I'm a New England boy. You know what I mean? And so, you know, I was like, yeah, have they ever seen these things? And so I hopped right on the internet. Like I hopped right on the internet as soon as I got back home. I got on Facebook, started looking at all these different like bike groups in DC. And what do you see? It's predominant white sport, man. You don't have Black kids on bikes. And if you do, you remember when we was riding bikes as kids, like when you do, it's because you trying to go to Shorty house or you trying to go to the basketball court. You ain't
Facts.
like, cause you ain't hitting your boy up like, yo, Dre, like, you trying to go cycle today? Like, nah, we riding our bikes to go to basketball or like to go to football. Like, you know what I mean? So like, we're not looking at bikes that way. And we riding people on pegs and all of that. You know what I mean?
Talk about it.
Like, that's what I'm saying. We not like on like real bikes with help. But we not definitely not wearing no helmet. So we weren't. You know what I mean? Like we just wasn't doing that because that's not cool. Like, you know, and I wouldn't say it's a cultural thing because it's not. It's not something that's in our culture to say like Black people don't wear helmets or Black people don't ride bikes, right? But I think that like with a lot of sports and even in fitness, you know, there's this conception that like, you know, certain sports and activities are for a certain race. And that's like a big part of like my mission too, because it's like, you know, you hear somebody say like, if I try to get, one of the hardest things was like getting these Black girls to ride bikes and put the helmets on. Because, you know, Black girls, high school, it don't matter what age, right? They got their hair.
Number one. Right? Number one.
So they'll put the helmet on. They'll like put the helmet like on top of their head and not strap it. I'm like, yo, it's not going to help you. Like, you got to put the helmet on. But like, yeah, like that was a big, like how I started at, you know, I really wanted to change like the misconceptions of what like diversity in sports really looks like, right? So it's like Black kids, like we're about to start we started already, but in September we start a cycling league, right? And so we're going to be the first youth cycling team from DC, all Black team, right? So we all Black kids on the team.
Come on now,
right? And it's going to be, but like I'm looking at the videos, and I can show you out some videos later. But like I'm looking at the videos and all of the races before. Man, like, first of all, biking is expensive. Like, these bikes cost thousands of dollars. Like, really good, great bikes cost thousands of dollars. And you're looking at all these races, and, like,
It's all white kids, man. It's all white kids. It's all white kids, bro. That's all it is, right? So it's like I'm sure my kids. That's gonna be the first time they see like more than 3 black kids at an event. I'm sure, right? And so we trying to change that, right? We're trying to change that, and so at first when I started on the Facebook, I'm hitting all these bike groups. Obviously, these mostly white people. These are mostly pretty rich people as well. I think it's a rich man's sport, kind of like golf. Like if I was looking for a bunch of clubs, it'd be rich people donating that stuff to me, right? And so, looking up bikes little by little. My principal is super supportive. She helps me get like U-Haul trucks. So I'm picking up all these bikes, but like some bikes are good, some bikes aren't good, and right. And we learned that on our first couple of rides, right? But then you keep grinding more and more. You start getting grant money. You start more people are donating to your program, and the more and more you work, right now we're set to go with like a great. I would say we have around 125 bikes, and they're all really, really good bikes, like great functioning bikes, right? And so we had a different level with our program now, but I started that in August, and our program went to November, and look where we are now. You know what I mean? And so, when we talk about like entrepreneurship, I think that was the original question. Like we talk about entrepreneurship and like, how do you just start something like that? Man, that just start with your heart. Like it just start with your heart. You know what I'm saying? I'm just now putting the paperwork for a 501c3. It was never a nonprofit.
Wow.
It was a nonprofit. Yeah, but by definition, it's a nonprofit. I'm not making pay for this or nothing like that. But I'm
paperwork
in for that. So like I'm probably not gonna hear back from that until like June, July. You know what I mean? But who cares? Right? Like who cares about that? Because again, like this got nothing to do with money. So people who reach out and want to fund us, I just tell them to buy the kids stuff. Don't give the money to me. Just buy the kids stuff. So that's how we were able to fund like things like hoodies, so the kids look like coordinated while they're in the streets. Bike lights, all of these different types of gloves, like all these different type of things, because it really was like a whole community effort. So I think like as an entrepreneur, especially if you're an entrepreneur like me that works in the community and like wants to scale kind of like your activism, like you can do it by yourself, like all the like the groundwork, but like use the community, man. Because nobody asking for money. Like people really want to help. Like, so use your community. Be careful like who you use, right? But like
true.
You use your community. I think one of the biggest things, and this last part, I'll touch on this part, but the hardest part with like using the community was just making sure that all of these people that are reaching out, especially white folks, right, aren't using our kids as like publicity.
Talk
right?
on it.
Like, man, Mike, about this program, I'm not over exaggerating, thousands of emails, bro. Like thousands of emails from like August to now about like, how can I help out? Can I volunteer? Can I do this? Like all the time. You know what I mean? It happens like at least 5 times a day. Like, and so, at first you just had to make sure that it wasn't gonna be, oh, somebody shows up to volunteer, take a picture with 3 black kids and be like, yeah, I helped out, like community service. Like, nah, because our kids read that too. Like our kids know what that is. Our kids know exactly what that looks like. Last year we had Jeff Bezos, founder of Amazon. He came into one of our engineering programs.
Bro, what are you doing? Why would you cut that off like that?
That's it, man. That's it.
What you mean? I know it's more than that. You just cut my man's off in the middle of his sentence.
There is, but you got to head over to the BMM Patreon to access the rest of the episode, bro.
Come on, man. A paywall?
Look, if you really rock with us, the BMM podcast, it's only $3.99 a month for full access to our videos and audio episodes.
$3.99 a month. So we talking about like $3.99. That's not too bad. Where do I go?
Patreon.com/BMM podcast. That's Patreon, spelled patreon.com/BMM podcast. That's it, man.
Say less. I'm there.
Kiko.